All right, so surprise, I'm going to use similar software, but I'm coming from a little bit of a different angle than what Evan comes from. So my name's Adam Marsh. I'm the president at Ledge Inc. We're a manufacturing and consulting firm. We're located just over in York, PA, and our focus has historically been around quality and management systems. So I'm an industrial engineer. I'm taking maybe a different focus on this. My focus has not been marketing, but has instead been practical actually uses for my customers. And knowing that, about a year ago, number one, I've been using this for 2 years now, probably really heavy, and I just happen to be that tech guy. And this is kind of how people are falling into being the AI guy. I did not search out to be the AI guy. I've probably now delivered this speech, 30 to 40 to 50 times in the past year, and I have 7 of them scheduled for this fall. It is insanity to see the demand for this information right now, and the idea behind it is we are all hearing about AI every day. What can we actually start using, right? And how do we do that safely? So we are uniquely positioned to do that because I've spent so many years, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, in manufacturers, looking at where their problems are, and I see the opportunities for AI to solve some of those problems. So we're looking at building out use cases for those exact problems. And so I like to start with how fast is this actually happening? If we look at home PCs, it took home PCs about 18 years to get to 100 million users. It took the internet about 10 years to get to 100 million users. It took ChatGPT 2 months to get to 100 million users. Okay, when we think about the speed at which this is happening, I'm probably delivering this speech on that note, on that many, at least once a week. I already did it earlier today for a smaller group, okay, which is, like I said, it's crazy. Well, today I'm doing the same one, but normally it's a different speech every time because week by week this is changing, and I have to keep up with it to be able to say this is the most up-to-date stuff that's going on. So why is this so urgent? That this is happening with or without you, and if you don't think your people are using it, you're kidding yourself. They are using it behind your back if you haven't given them tools to do this. So please note, people are going to find the easiest way to do things, and this is exactly what they're going to start using. You're going to use their personal ChatGPT account if you don't give them tools to start using. A study just came out. They studied 1 million prompts in the second quarter, and they found that 4 out of every 100 prompts had proprietary information in it. 4 out of every 100. And then they started looking at uploads. It was 22% of uploads had confidential company information in, and people were just uploading it to their ChatGPT. That is terrifying. As Evan said, you're training it. So we need to instead look for other opportunities, other ways we can use it and not feed it our data. This is a competitive advantage for you. I can tell you, if you don't jump in now, if you don't start looking around and looking for opportunities for this, 6 months from now, if your competition is doing this, they're going to be light years ahead. That's how fast this is moving. So in my mind, I don't believe this is just another tool where we're going to give you another piece of software. This is a platform. So we've been talking a lot that AI is like a 3D printer. We're not going to give you a tool and tell you exactly how to use it. It's not solving one single problem. It's solving a lot of problems for you. But you got to figure out what those problems are and then start tuning it to do those, right? So we talked a little bit about this. Will AI replace those jobs or supplement them? In my mind, it's just making my people better, faster, smarter. I am using it to take things out of their daily jobs that are the easy stuff. The easy stuff, they're time wasters that aren't really value added, but that we have to do. Our customers are expecting us to do that. And we're gonna kind of walk through a couple of those. I really focus on, and this is my biggest, so before I go anywhere, I hit the elephant in the room. Security and compliance with AI. And that is looking at not only, okay, say you want to use it for financial analysis. You want to put your company's financial data in that. Please don't put it into ChatGPT. You're just telling ChatGPT how great your company is or not so great, historically, right? That's scary to me. And the anecdote I have of that is I recently got my first company, my first client, because of ChatGPT. And they are in Wisconsin. I am from central Pennsylvania. I do not market in Wisconsin. I got a team of 10. We do some internet, some work all over, but I don't go to Wisconsin. And I said, how'd you find us? Just out of curiosity. They said, well, we asked ChatGPT who to use, and it said use you guys. I said, well, that's cool, but that's a little scary, right? Because now I've been training this thing for 2 years. right? I've been telling it all about my company. Luckily, I've been telling it good things, but there's a possibility that I could have been putting in, hey, here's all our problems, here's my financials, and you're teaching it, you're letting it learn from that. So unless your team is very good at turning off those learning modules and all those settings, if you don't put some guardrails up, they're going to start to do that. So we talk a lot about policy before prompts, and we encourage you at the end of this, I'll have a code that you can download a free AI policy to use for your team. We really encourage you to look at developing a policy that says, hey team, we'd like you to use it. I don't want you to stop them from using it, but here's the tools that you can use and here's what you're allowed to put in it. Look, I've got customers that are defense contractors. I do not, no matter the tool, I don't want them loading their prints of missile parts into any AI tools. And you'd be surprised, they're asking me if they can do that. Heck no, right? There's just no tool out there that I'd feel comfortable doing that with. Now, I work with some accounting firms that are using this. We're checking their tax packages before they send it to their customer. We're first checking it for, spelling and footnotes, making sure things line up right, but we're also looking for tax problems and yet letting AI kind of do that study. I'm comfortable with it doing that. We might scrub the person's social security name or number or things like that out of it, but I'm using some secure tools that give us confidence that we can do that. So I want to go through two quick tools and then we can talk about some others. But a couple weeks ago I did a presentation, and this is one of my favorite stories because we have a platform that we sell to get folks using AI. And I did this similar presentation, and a guy has me coming. I'm actually going to visit him on Monday to work through where he can use AI. It is an Amish company making furniture. I sold AI to an Amish guy, right? Which I'm really happy about. Okay, so one of the things he's worried about is inventory. He said, I don't know what to buy and when. And so I have been working on this problem. This is a bigger problem, but it's really a logic problem. And guess what AI is pretty good at? If you give it the rules, it can follow the rules and solve a logic problem. So I'm going to just walk through, and this is a tool that we use, and this is me running my tool. Note, I try not to do live demos anymore because, God forbid, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, and then my life is unpleasant. So this is me running the tool. And what I did was I built a custom tool, and this is using some sample data. I'm not using his data, but my plan would be to be able to roll this out to people, where I can take his orders, his bill of materials, his current on-hand inventory, and any orders that he has out. In the background of the system, I've built what his lead times are, who his vendors are. From that, I can say, when should I buy stuff and how much should I buy? And let AI do the math for me. Let it tell me when I should start taking these actions. I gave it 2 guidelines. The 2 big guidelines I have, I want to be on time for my customers, and I want to be super lean. I don't want extra inventory. So AI is following those rules for me. And it's giving me that exact result on exactly the purchase orders I should be writing. So think about designing custom tools. No, this is not a tool that I can hand this same tool to another group. Everybody's data is going to be different. Everybody's guidelines are going to be different. But you can customize these tools. A tool like this might take 3 to 4 hours to build, and you've got something working. Now, we got to do some validation, make sure it's delivering what we want it to deliver. But think about your purchasing guy and giving him some confidence to be able to delve into a tool like this, where now he can decide exactly what to buy and when. So the next tool is, and I try to be a little self-deprecating. I'm an industrial engineer, so anybody know what an industrial engineer actually does? That's normally the response I get, so our job is to find efficiencies and figure out kind of how it's made. All right, I teach a class up at Elizabethtown College up here, and my focus is purely on how it's made. And so all I do is I teach engineers how to actually make things because they really don't know. And so I get to go into shops, look at how they're doing stuff, and find ways to optimize it, find ways to make it better. Well, one of the things I have to teach about is welding. It is not a strength of mine. I had some classes on it. I had to weld it. I'm a Penn State guy. I actually had to weld and pass a welding test to actually graduate with my degree. I passed that by the skin of my teeth. And however, a couple weeks ago, my tractor's broken. Whether I did it or my father did, I don't know. But somebody broke my tractor, and it needed to be welded back together. And I convinced my wife that this is my time to buy a welder and practice a little bit. And so I bought a welder, I welded it up, and I'm sitting there looking at my terrible weld. I mean, it's ugly, but it's holding. I said, what would AI say about my weld? I took a picture of it, uploaded it. It says, immediately break this weld and start over, right? It's horrible. It says no go on this weld, but here's what you can do to fix it. I said, oh, this is cool. I need to build this tool for my customers. So I went ahead and built this tool for my customers with the idea that the more details, the more content that I can give the tool, the better answer it's going to get. And so in this particular tool, I allow it to upload 3 welding pictures. I can put in my material information. I can put in a weld procedure if I've got it. I can say exactly what I use. So I actually dropped the picture of my weld in here. It's a kind of a drag and drop situation. And doing that, it gives me my game plan on how to fix my terrible weld. I can tell you it broke last weekend and I already had to repair it, so it was right. My weld was bad. But the beautiful part about this is, think about if you don't have a weld expert in-house, now I could use this tool and say, I don't think that weld looks right. You know, maybe I sent something out to get welded. What could I do about it? Is this good or not? Right? You might not need that weld expert. I don't have to call my buddy who's a weld expert who's going to make fun of me for my horrible weld. I can actually just use AI to start being my coach through this. I'm using this at home all the time. I'm not the most handy engineer in the world, and my wife just trusted me because I had AI to do our whole kitchen backsplash. And I had 4 tiles left at the end. My wife is an art teacher. These were not easy tiles. These were like wacky, and we got it just right. Because I'm using AI, it's giving me like the confidence to do this. Note here, I ask AI for a confidence score. One of the questions I get is, how do we know it's right? If you just ask AI to give you a result, it's going to just give you an answer, and if you just read that and don't kind of dive in, you might just think it's right. It's very confident in itself. So what we've started to do is develop game plans to say, hey AI, how confident are you in this answer, and what would make you more confident? So we actually ask it to tell us that. So it's going to tell me, hey, you know what? Give me a couple more pictures. Give me a picture from this angle. Upload this. Give me this detail, and then I can be more confident in my answer. So starting to use the tools to help kind of guide you in that direction. What's coming next here? The next big thing here is agents. And I don't know if anybody who's played with AI has played with AI agents, but these are things now that you can train and they will start to take action for you. So think about my dream for this has always been what I talked about a year ago. The big thing with AI a year ago was that my wife and I have 3 kids, we're crazy busy, and I hate making a grocery list of deciding what we're eating this week and developing the grocery list. So I used AI to say, hey, here's everything my family likes to eat. Build me a menu plan for the week, and then tell me what to buy at the store, right? Which, really handy. And I can say, I'm going to Walmart here in York, PA. Tell me, like, put it in the order of the store, so as I walk around, I just get it and go right off the list. My dream is that agent can now take my list and go to the Walmart website and just buy that stuff for me. So that's the next step. That's what's coming with AI, is agents that you can tell it what to do, they can start taking actions. These are starting to exist, on quality quite yet. They're getting there, but we're heading this direction. The other big change is something called vibe coding. The idea being, if you have an idea and you're not a programmer, I am not a code programmer. I can train AI all day, but I'm not going to write the code. I can fix the code a little bit, but I'm not going to write the code. AI is great at coding. Guess what it was designed by? It was designed by coders, right, to help coders. And so it's really good at that. So there are tools, and if you use ChatGPT 5 today, you can do this in ChatGPT 5. You can say, hey, I want to develop a video game, and right here in this window, help me build the video game. Here are the rules to the game. Here are the inputs. Here's the rules. Here's the goal of the game. And it will build you the code, and you can play it right within that. Where I see this is guys like me I have ideas for software all the time. And I got to go to a developer to make my final version of this software, is in the prototyping phase. I now can formalize that idea using vibe coding, say, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. It's probably not going to work the way I want it to, but I can kind of flush it out and make it like look the way I want to, make it kind of feel the way, look through the screens, look through the process. So I'm in the middle of making one that we're calling a digital apprentice, right? One of the biggest concerns I get for most shops in the world when we see them is their knowledge is leaving. They're retiring, they're going to lose those people, right? And so how do we capture that knowledge? So we have a tool in development right now that guy can, hey, you're on the shop floor, this machine breaks down, you're the only guy that knows how to do it, pulls his phone out, just talks into it, says, hey, here's how to fix this machine. He goes and fixes it. Great, I've captured that information. I'm building that tool right now so we can build your lessons learned log for your business. You've got that whole system, and we do it in a really simple way so that guy can pull it out and just record it, right? We don't make it more complicated than that. So I've developed that using vibe coding. Every screen looks beautiful, it works, but if you hit record, it doesn't actually do anything. That's fine, because all I want to do is show the developers exactly how I want this to work, okay? And that is a really hard part. I can tell you, working with developers in the past, their understanding of the business world, a little light. So instead, you got to be able to bring them something that says, this is what we're actually trying to do, okay? So I see vibe coding as a great opportunity. There's a large problem in AI, and we call it the junior developer problem. And this is going to happen across industries. This is where I don't need a junior programmer anymore because AI is now my junior programmer. But how do you ever get a senior programmer if they've never been a junior programmer? How do you get people up through the ranks? And as you look at your business, this is a training problem. We're going to have to train people faster and better and have them more prepared to become that senior programmer, or we're not going to get people from that lower stage up to where we need them to be. And so recognize that within your business when you're trying to bring people in. If we are using AI to replace some of these jobs, that's something that you're going to have to contend with. You're not going to get people right out of college who understand this set, and we have to have a pathway for them to get to that understanding. So other AI tools that I use, Evan mentioned Gamma. I told him about it this week. I don't make PowerPoints anymore. I make the content in ChatGPT or whatever window I want to make it in, and then from there, I run it through Gamma, and then it makes my PowerPoint, and then I make it pretty. Think of the idea with AI is I can get to 90% done or 85% done way faster than everybody else, and now I got to do the last 15%. That makes my life a lot easier. I don't have to look at the blank page and start with something. I've got something ready to roll. The next one I always like to talk about is something called Fixer. I turned this on 3 weeks ago and thought I hated it. After 3 weeks, I kind of love it. The idea being, I don't have time to respond to all the emails that are coming in. So when I look at my email box, I probably get, 1,000 every day of stuff that I'm supposed to look at, which is insanity. So Fixer plugs into my email, and if it thinks I need to respond, it drafts a response for me in my voice, and then puts it in my drafts folder so I can send it if I want to. Pretty cool. It also looks at my calendar, because a lot of times people are saying, hey, can we have a meeting next week? So it grabs my calendar and says, hey, and he could have a meeting at this time. So now I've got a time, so we could propose that to a customer. If they like it, boom, I hit a button and I've got a meeting already scheduled. Invites are out, all good to go. It also goes to every meeting, whether I'm there or not, and takes notes. So that's on Zoom or Teams, and it's really handy. Emails them back to you. Something to be careful with, and this is with any of the email assistants, is it goes to meetings with or without you. It takes notes with or without you, and if you don't set it right, it will email those notes out to everybody who was supposed to be at that meeting. And if Jim didn't come to the meeting and you talked about Jim in those notes, could be a problem. Okay, so be careful with these kind of tools that you know what you're talking about and you know what was in that in those notes before you sent them out to everybody. That includes customers, right? So, hey, you were having a little conversation before the customer gets on the Teams meeting and we talked about them. It recorded that and it might send it to the customer if you don't tell it not to. So things you need to watch out for before you just turn some of these things on. The last one, and this is our toolkit that we're selling to get people using AI, is our platform. It's called ledge.hats. And the idea being, I can give a company, assume somebody has 20 people at the company, I can give them access to secure AI. And this is AI that doesn't learn. I've turned learning off for everything, but with different models. If you looked earlier, I was probably using models like not only ChatGPT, but I'm going to use things like Gemini and Claude. This is a weird market right now where we don't know who the winner is going to be. We're early 90s right now, trying to figure out who is Yahoo, who is Google, who is AOL. I'm a little concerned that ChatGPT is AOL, right? And if you're in it, you're like stuck in their environment and you're kind of just using their tool. That's your pathway to AI. There are so many other tools that are really good and better than ChatGPT that maybe don't do everything, but do pieces of it. And you need to start testing those because we got to find the next Google, right? And in my mind, so you'll see a lot of the times when I'm writing stuff, I use something called Claude. It's made by a company called Anthropic. It is significantly better at writing than ChatGPT. And I think ChatGPT's writing got worse with 5, when 5 came out compared to 4. So it's continuing to watch that and looking at who's going to be the winner here. Right? We don't know who's going to be the winner, and there's going to be tools. I can tell you I didn't use this Gamma app 6 months ago. I used something called Beautiful.ai. I just cut the subscription for that. That's gone. Now I use this. Every 6 months, I mean, it's going to be something different. The next one's coming. You have to be continually watching it.